Once upon a time there was a very kind king and queen who dreamed of having a child. Every day, they asked God to grant their wish. And so, a girl was born. Enchanting. She had skin as white as snow and hair as black as night. Shortly after the girl's birth, the queen became very ill and could not resist. All the kingdom was desolate. After some time, the king decided to marry again, but he didn't make a good choice. He married a very bad woman. In front of everyone, the stepmother treated Snow White as if she were his own daughter. But when everyone left, she despised and humiliated the girl. Snow White was a sweet and cheerful girl. He loved to play in the kitchen while the servants prepared meals for the royal family. Her stepmother hated that girls stayed in the kitchen. The queen complained that Snow White always smelled of boiled chicken, which this one did not. It was the smell of a princess, and it sent her out of the kitchen. Snow White obeyed, but she was very sad. It was there, in the company of servants, that she really felt at home. Some time later, the king had to take a long trip by ship. The waves were very riots and his ship sank. Thus, Snow White was left alone with her stepmother, living in the castle. The stepmother was very vain and loved to collect perfumes from all over the world. She had a magical perfume that could talk. Every day, she asked the perfume, who was the most fragrant woman in the kingdom? Perfume always replied that she was the most fragrant woman in the entire kingdom, and that filled her with joy. Time passed, Branca de Neve grew up and became a beautiful woman. Whenever possible, she escaped to the kitchen to chat with the servants. When the queen traveled, Snow White even helped with the food preparation. One day, when asking the same question as always to the magic perfume, the queen heard that now Snow White was the most fragrant woman in the kingdom. She was furious, but the perfume completed by saying that Snow White's natural perfume was the fragrance most genuine in the kingdom. Very angry, the queen ordered a castle servant to take Snow White to the forest and killed her. But the servant had compassion on the girl and told her the whole plan. Asked her to run away, never return to the castle. Snow White was very sad. All the memories of his parents were in that local. However, he had no choice. He ran out, looking for a place to sleep. That's when he spotted a very small house in the distance. He decided to approach and enter. Inside, he saw very small furniture. She was so tired that she decided to push the beds together and to sleep. There was the home of a group of elves who worked in a perfume factory in the kingdom. When they returned from work, they found Branca de Snow sleeping in bed. From them, they decided to let her rest. When she woke up, she told her story and they took pity on her and let her stay. Snow White took care of the house, while the elves went to the factory. How the house was so little, she finished the job very quickly, and to pass the time, she started to cook all kinds of goodies. Snow White realized that that was really her great passion, cooking for people. He loved to see the elves enjoying his cooking. One day, the stepmother asked the magic perfume again who was the most beautiful woman. Smell of the kingdom. He replied that it was Snow White and told him that she was alive, living in the forest. Furious, the stepmother disguised herself as an old woman, poisoned an apple and went out to deliver it. The Snow White. He knocked on the door of the elf's house and the girl answered. Snow White soon noticed the aroma of the perfume that seemed familiar to her, and when she looked in the old woman's eyes, there was no doubt, it was her stepmother. When the lady offered her the apple, Branca de Neve accepted and said she would prepare it a delicious dessert with it. But before that, I wanted the old lady to sit down because dinner was served. Not knowing what to do, the queen sat down at the table. Under cover, Snow White she put a dash of a special ingredient in the soup she served her stepmother. In a great effort, from spoonful to spoonful, the old woman drank all the soup. Suddenly there was a noise. It was a snoring coming from the old woman's belly. He couldn't hold back any longer and let out a huge fart. Snow White held her nose and started to laugh. The stepmother was so nervous, letting go one fart after another, which even the old lady disguise ended up falling off. The queen then, embarrassed, sprayed her perfume on herself, but it did no good. You farts were unbeatable. She ran away. However, the farts did not cease. Before getting anywhere, the smell of fart preceded. She became known around the world as Madame Pum. Snow White was able to return to the palace and assume the throne. Along with her were also all the elves. She made the servant who saved her life the administrator of the kingdom and rewarded him with many gifts. He ordered a major overhaul of the palace kitchen. I used to go there big part of her day, alongside people who have always truly loved her, preparing with affection the meals for all of the court and for all the subjects who did not have what eat. Thus, the kingdom had a new queen, kind and fair, and everyone was very happy. And the prince? Oh, maybe one day he'll meet the new queen out there.
Hi friend, did you find me in history? Rewind the video and look for me. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any stories.